Over the years, the Star Wars Battlefront series has been one of the most beloved Star Wars game series in the franchise, and for a very good reason. With great story missions and entertaining multiplayer combat, it's a sort of game that has something for everyone. Of course, as any good Star Wars game, it has plenty of battle equipment, such as blasters, armored vehicles, and even turrets that are unique to it. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at every turret available in the game. As a disclaimer, we only have limited information for most of them, but in most cases, it's enough to get a sense of the turret's power. So without further ado, let's get started with a familiar face.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
For fans of Episode 5, the Hoth defense turret is a familiar and welcome addition. Exclusively found on the Hoth Echo Base map, these turrets were particularly designed to deal with enemy infantry vehicles like the famous AT-AT and the AT-ST. Those who remember our video on the Battle of Hoth will remember these stoic turrets as they took down many of the invading Imperial AT-ATs rather effectively, making them a prime target for Imperial forces. The Hoth defense turret was a white cylindrical turret armed with energy weapons. In the first Battlefront game, these energy weapons were the rapid-fire laser variety, but in the sequel, they were downgraded to regular laser weapons. Even so, they were more than enough to deal with the enemy AT-ATs, which has earned them a spot in every rebel's heart. But the Hoth defense turret wasn't alone. The Hoth Echo Base map had a second defense turret protecting Echo Base, the Hoth Dish Turret. Unlike the white cylindrical shape of the defense turret, the dish turret was shaped like an old-fashioned TV reception dish. In Battlefront 2, rebel troops identify it as a particle cannon. Much like its cousin, the defense turret, the dish turret was also designed to take out enemy infantry vehicles. However, unlike the defense turret, the dish turret was much slower. When firing, it had to charge up a powerful yellow laser blast. In most cases, it could take out enemy walkers in a single hit, but it was slow to reorient and charge a follow-up blast. As a result, it was generally aimed at walkers' weak points to guarantee a one-hit knockout. On a more amusing note, there are several key differences between the dish turret seen in Episode 5 and the dish turret that appears in Battlefront. In the movie, the dish turret is much more ineffective against enemy AT-ATs, and it also fires red lasers. Also found in Hoth was the E-Web turret, a defensive turret players could encounter during hunt mode. These turrets had varying rates of fire, from machine gun rapid fire to chain gun-like energy bursts. Unlike the cannon version, however, it didn't have a backup power generator, nor was it movable. For a less specialized turret, Battlefront has the laser turret, also known as the bog standard turret found on most maps, from Endor to Geonosis. Basically little more than an E-Web turret with hull plating, this stationary turret fired off relatively slow, low-power blasts in Battlefront 1 that, in gaming terms, did minor splash damage. In Battlefront 2, this was upgraded to rapid-fire laser blasts with no AoE. Like the previous turrets, these were designed as anti-infantry weapons, taking on walkers like the AT-AT. However, they were practically useless against vehicles like tanks. Moreover, when used for a long time, the laser turret would overheat and cease firing until the system had sufficiently cooled down. Another weakness they have is that their design leaves the gunmen handling them exposed. From there, it's an easy matter to take them out in one shot and neutralize the turret until someone else takes its place, and since the turrets are stationary, headshots are easy. Similarly, we have the Yavin Turret, also known as the Yavin Tower Turret. This creative design was a little more than a standard laser turret mounted on top of a pole and set to defend the Yavin base. The only difference to the laser turret is being about 35 feet off the ground, which sounds great until you remember how dense the trees on Yavin are. Their thick foliage rendered these turrets practically useless, leading to another prominent case of DIY. If that weren't enough, the operators are extremely exposed. Their only saving grace was that, as much as they couldn't see the enemy also couldn't see them, which is something, we suppose. Similar to the laser turret was the beam turret. This powerful weapon was designed to stand stationary, but could also be mounted on vehicles like the IFTX. much like its simpler counterpart, it was excellent at dealing with enemy infantry. Unlike the laser turret, however, it was also capable of dealing with enemy vehicles. Also unlike the laser turret, it fired steady beams of energy rather than singular bolts, hence the name. Alongside vehicles, beam turrets could also be mounted on ships in Battlefront 2, such as the Imperial Star Destroyer and the Trade Federation Cruiser, and supported these capital ships during space combat. The particle cannon turret is considered by many as Battlefront's version of the mainstream turbo cannon. It was a large, heavy-duty turret designed to take on enemy vehicles within range. It was also considerably powerful, as 3 to 4 in-game energy bolts were enough to destroy most vehicles, and only 2 if you got a crit. A subtype of this turret found on Kashyyyk fired a white energy bolt that traveled in an arc, unlike the standard orange-brown laser bolts. Despite being designed for anti-vehicle combat, both variants were also great infantry deterrents, as their fire did AoE damage that could hit groups of enemies. In Battlefront 2, particle laser cannons are mounted on both the AT-AT and Snowspeeder, definitely an upgrade from the previous laser cannon. To depart from all the anti-infantry weapons, we had the anti-air turret, a weapon used exclusively on bestmen. These defense turrets were powerful, able to take out enemy starfighters with ease. However, it had its weaknesses. It boasted low accuracy and overheated quickly. Additionally, it was rather fragile and could be taken out with 1 to 3 direct hits from enemy aircraft. On a more unique note, we also have the auto turret, the sniper of all turrets. While appearing as little more than a small metal sphere floating harmlessly around, the moment an enemy enters its LOS, rounds of fire are sent their way automatically. And these blasts are strong too, the in-game equivalent of 1 to 3 pistol shots. Along with its rapid fire rate, these little buggers are menaces on the battlefield and can bring your HP down faster than 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Overall, its accuracy was also quite high, though it usually missed the initial shots while its sensor accurately calibrated the enemy's location. Auto turrets are commonly deployed around command posts or to support a camped sniper. Overall, probably the best unit to support the game's sniper class. And finally, to round off this list, we have the turret we have the most information about, the LR1K Cannon. Also known as the Sonic Disruptor Cannon, this was a large brown turret that relied on sonic projectiles to disrupt enemy forces. Due to its weapons being primarily sonic waves, they did next to nothing against vehicles. If they managed to hit enemy infantry, they would be sent staggering, but other than that, it had little use. In short, it was a turret designed to slow the enemy down, not stop them. On the plus side at least, in-game, they could auto-repair themselves once destroyed. In Battlefront 1, these turrets were only used on Geonosis under the name Geonosian turrets, set in a circle around the spire. Depending on where you come at the spire from, they were either completely useless or completely deadly, giving most players mixed feelings. In Battlefront 2, it appears with its final name of LR1K Cannon and is also found exclusively on Geonosis. Unlike in the first game, these turrets dealt significant damage to enemy infantry and boast small crosshairs and a clear view, which make it far more usable. So, what do you think? Which of these turrets do you think was the most powerful overall, and which was the most useful? Which did you hate going up against in-game? For me, it was definitely the auto turrets, which always annoyed me when going for command posts. So let me know if you agree with that, or if you have your own opinions. Anyways guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.